This summer, we have seen some big names from the Championship move up to the Premier League already, but today, I'm going to bring you five big Wonderkids who are currently in the Championship who will make it in the Champions League very soon. Before I get into those 5 clubs, it's no surprise that the Championship has got such awesome players. According to Football Manager, the English Championship, or the Sky Bet Championship, is the 20th best league in world football. That sees it above some clubs literally in the Champions League. We just won Swansea in the Champions League. That's all we need. And before we jump into the top 5, starting from 5 all the way to number 1, which in my opinion is the best player in the Championship, I want you to pop your comments down below. You know your club better than I do, guaranteed. I'm not going to tell you who your best player is, but you know, that's kind of the point of the video. Don't forget about that. Comment down below, who is your superstar of the Championship? Who is the youngster who's going to make it in the Champions League in the not too distant future? So let's see our first player. And number 5 is none other than Jacob Greaves, centre-back for Hull. Jacob is only 20 years old, 6'3". His physical standout as an impressive set of traits to make himself a star, not only in the Championship, not only in the Premier League, but one day in the Champions League. He could do a little job on the left-hand side, being very strong on his left foot, and going forward, he's not a mug at all. Technically gifted, passing of 14, first touch of 11, and a technique of 11. Jacob is not only a very good centre-back, but he could make it quite easily in a defensive midfielder role with that technical ability. At the start of the game in Football Manager 2022, Jacob is worth between £3.5 and £10.5 million. He's no cheap player at all, and he's already wanted by the Geordies up north. Newcastle could potentially come into him. So we're going to jump forward 10 years to see how Jacob's career materialises. And here we are in 2032. That went very quick indeed, didn't it? And Jacob Greaves is now 31 and 6'3". His height has changed. Still strong defensively and that defensive midfielder role. He's clearly been played in that slot quite a bit, but he is turned into a very impressive player indeed. Not exactly setting the world alight with some very high stats, but across the board, he is turned into a very accomplished player. We can see his career stats at the corner. Looking at more detail, he stayed with Hull for quite a long time, didn't he? Did he get his testimonial? Almost. He would have gone that season, his 10th season, were they kind or not. Eventually moving to Blackpool for £9.75 million and getting that step up to the Premier League, where, to be honest, he didn't do that well, with the Devils' 6.66 average rating. Just the one season in the Premier League, then Brentford took him back down to the Championship. And to be fair, since then he's not really done much until he's come to Huddersfield on loan for 34 games in the bag. And I've also just seen that he has had enough of English football and he's going to the Big Apple. All the best, Jacob. Safe to say Jacob has not had the most illustrious career, finishing at Huddersfield, maybe moving to New York. In real life, I think he will do a lot better though. A cracking little player. Now let's take a look at number 4. And for number 4, we are off to Blackburn to see the Xavi, the Iniesta of Blackburn. John Buckley, rocking in at 5'8" tall. He is a very, very accomplished midfielder indeed. Technically brilliant. Physically a little bit lacking, although you'd argue that's just his strength. I would say that John Buckley has got a very impressive future ahead of him. Just 21 years of age, he's worth between 4.7 million and 14 million at the start of Football Manager 2022. There are some gaps in his game. Technically, he is a bit lacking, but I'm pretty certain that with his skills and his mental ability, John Buckley is one of those players who could do very well in this game. A two-footed player, fairly strong on his left and very strong on his right. Let's jump forward 10 years to see how John's career has gone. Well, the first thing I'm noticing is a trend. All of these Championship Wonderkids are buggering off to America. Firstly, there was Jacob Greaves who's gone off to New York, and John Buckley finds himself at the probably more glamorous, if you ask me, Inter Miami. Still 5'8", God bless him. He has turned into a very good player. His mentals are very good. Technically could be a little bit better, and his physicals, obviously at the age of 32, are starting to drop down. Let's take a look at his career to see how he's done. Wow, he has not travelled far at all. We started here with Blackburn after 3 seasons, 3 full seasons of, let's be honest, not that great performances, not many goals, not many assists. He went off to the MLS, and he has been there for so long his accent must have changed. I can picture him now. The cowboy hat, the bald eagle, and the flag in the white picketed fence garden. Good for you, John. And some of these seasons, he's turned up quite well. 9 goals here, 7 goals here, but not a single season over 7 rating. So again, not a fantastic career for Mr. Buckley, but I do believe that in real life, this kid is set for big things. So not the best career for John yet again, but I genuinely think that in real life, especially this season coming up, he's another baller. Blackburn have got some decent players in their squad, and if he gets some games under his belt and is injury-free, John Buckley will have a very, very good season. Right, number 3. This one's a favourite of mine. I know. Joel Perreault, Swansea player. I'm not even being biased though. If anybody watched the Championship last season, they would know that Mr. Perreault, Joel Perreault, was one of the best players in that league. Definitely the best striker, the most naturally gifted finisher in that division. Joel Perreault's strength lies up front. He is without a doubt the most natural finisher in the Championship. Technically gifted, a calm head amongst a mad league. With a touch like Bergkamp, he doesn't have the best pace in the world, but honestly, his intelligence at reading the game around him and bringing his fellow teammates into play is second to none. I'm surprised he's not been sold yet by Swansea. There's still time, and I genuinely think we are looking at the top goal scorer in the Championship right here for the year 2022-23. At 6'1", he's a physical beast. Strength of 13 is a bit of an understatement. To be fair, those stats you see in front of you, expect him to change an awful lot for Football Manager 23. Valued at £6 to £18 million, Joel Perreault came to Swansea from the big signing from PSV. He didn't really do much there before coming to us. His debut season in the Wales City was definitely the highlight of his career so far. So let's jump forward 10 years to see how Joel Perreault does. Oh, for God's sake, my heart's broken. This isn't a good one. Here we are then, 10 years time, 2032 yet again, and Joel Perreault has ended up in West Brom. 32 years old, still 6'1". His physicals have hit a wall and declined massively. Let's see how his career has gone. But Joel, mate, I was expecting big things for you, my boy. He stayed in Swansea for a very long time. Once again, we start on this season here, 39 games, 18 goals, and he did score goals every single season, but he never beat that 18. And even now, his performances, only one season, actually 2 seasons, eclipsing the 7.0. And then he went off to West Brom to remain in the Championship. Heartbroken. Joel Perreault, mate, you're better than that. SI, Miles, Football Manager. Sort this boy out. He deserves everything. He deserves the world. So that's 3 for 3 now. I would be struck out if this was baseball. This is a nightmare, but I'm sticking by my guns. These are 3 Wonderkids in Football Manager. They're going to do very well. Now, number 2, this is an absolute baller. Oh, who is that? Is that Xavi Simons? No. Is that Hannibal? No. It is Masengo. Hanoa Masengo from Bristol City. Without a doubt, one of the most exciting talents in the league at the moment. He is wanted at the start of Football Manager by Arsenal, Newcastle, Milan and Zebra, who are actually Juventus in real life, and you can see why. This kid is going to be very special. Only 19 years old, valued between 4.4 and 13 million pounds, mentally a very good player, technically an outstanding player, and physically he's not exactly weak there. This kid doesn't necessarily have a weakness at the moment. The type of player you can imagine sat here as a deep line playmaker, pulling the strings, controlling the pace of the game, and being a huge asset for Bristol City. Now, if you missed last week's video on the manager's seat, I looked at the Championship and we simmed forward the season to find out who was going to be one of the biggest performers, and this kid had a big impact. There's a link up there for that video right now. Pop on up there, and I won't give any spoilers away, but Hanoa Masengo had a very, very good season. So once again, let's jump forward 10 years to find out how Hanoa Masengo, easy for you to say, does in the world of Football Manager. Okay, this was a bit better. I'm making improvement. Forget the first 3. This one's actually quite decent. Here we are. Hanoa Masengo has left the Championship, which is a good start, to be fair, considering the first 3. He's not gone to America this time. He's gone off to Strasbourg, and he is looking mightily impressive again. He hasn't developed exactly as I thought, but his vision, his technical ability has improved very nicely indeed. At the age of 30, you'd argue he's still got another 4 or 5 years left in the bag to prove himself and to develop. Now let's take a look at where he has gone in his career. Bristol City, he was there for a very, very long time indeed. And this time around, we've actually got somebody who's performed mightily well, pretty much year in, year out, above a 7 rating, which in the world of Football Manager is very good indeed, and assisting a lot of goals each season. That got him a move to Fulham in the year 29-30 for just under £10 million up into the Premier League, where he played 3 games and did very bad indeed. They got relegated, God bless them. He played 1 goal, scored, and then Fulham turfed him out to Strasbourg. Not the best career, but Hano Masengo is definitely one to watch for the future. And fair play, 30 years old and he's still got that haircut. What a man. Okay, number 1, I'm going to pin all my hopes and dreams on this player, and he is genuinely good, you know. All these players are good, but this one is very good. I'm surprised he's still in the Championship. If he goes before this transfer window is over, in fact, if he goes before this video comes out, I'll be gutted. But he could definitely make it in the Champions League this season, if you ask me. And for number 1, we are staying in Bristol. Bristol City, to be particular. And do you know what I love the most about this kid? He was born in bloody Guernsey, the island of Guernsey. Fair play. Possibly the best thing ever to come out of that island. Looking close here, Alex, you could see, let's be honest, there are some big gaps in his game. But what you want from him, he is very good at. I would put him out on that right-hand side as a winger. He's got the pace, he's got the dribbling, he's got the first touch, and he can put the ball across there nice and easy. Corners, forget about it, they're going into rose ed, but crossing, he can do a job there. Born in 2003 makes me feel very old and him the age of 17. With a transfer value of £5 to £15 million, I'm pretty certain that Alex Scott is going to be the first one of this 5 that's going to have a very good 10 years in this simulation. And what I like about Alex is his determination of 14. Clearly a player who will step onto the pitch and put himself about. Let's find out if he's done that over the course of the past 10 years. Yes! We got 1 out of 5. Yes! Alex Scott, without a doubt, the best thing to come out of Guernsey. Apologies to anybody who's left Guernsey and think they're also brilliant. Yeah, I'm sure you are. Here we are in the year 2032 again, and Alex Scott, look at him. How good has he become? He is worth between 30 and 89 million pounds. He can play in a number of positions. He's even slotted in a bloody centre-back. 5'9", mate. I wouldn't make that a regular occurrence. Stick up front, which is clearly where his strength is. Out on that right hand side, he can play pretty much in any position, behind the striker and also in the centre of the park. As a technically gifted attacking midfielder, Alex Scott would do very well indeed. Looking at his stats, technically dribbling is very good, passing is very good, and his mental ability has shot up very much more than the others. That vision of 18 standing out like a sore thumb, and physically outstanding. Jumping reach you don't need to worry about. He's 5'9", out on that wing. You don't want him at the back post in corners. He is going to be creating everything. That physical stat of agility, standing out at a 17, he has become an absolute star. And look at who he is playing for. Liverpool have signed him up. Let's take a look at his career. Oh my word alive. So he only had the 2 seasons at Bristol before Spurs came along, put their hand in their deep Daniel Levy pockets and spent just under £6 million. And he had a few seasons where he was playing quite a lot in the Premier League. Then he went back to Bristol City on loan in the Championship and didn't do that well. Spurs had a few big seasons with him, 20 games in the year 25. And then West Ham also took him on loan, but for the Championship. So you could see at this stage in his career, he's not quite good enough for the Premier League, but he's too good for the Championship. And then Liverpool came along. And you have to ask, why would they spend so much money? And this is why. The last 2 seasons, oh my days, in the year 2030 to 31, Alex Scott rocks up with 16 goals in 34 appearances in the Premier League. Have we found the new Guernsey Mohamed Salah? I think we have. He's also got the 2 caps for England, popping up with 1 goal, and he's still got that wonderfully gravity-defying fringe. Alex Scott, thank you very much for making this list a rousing success at the end. What a man. So as mentioned, as I'm recording this right now, the transfer window is yet to slam shut. Any of those 5 players could still make it to a Premier League team or a Champions League team before the season is out. 12 months time, I'll do another video and we'll take a look in real life to see what they're like. But I'm expecting big things from those 5 names this year. And as we look further into the future, I can see them doing even better than the careers they've had in Football Manager. And as always, if you did enjoy today's video, don't forget we did another prediction for the Championship. We took a look at who was going to win the league, and there was some very interesting results. So pop up there, have a look, and let me know what you think. And aside from that, I will see you all very soon. Take care of yourselves.